Yo, what up, guys? It's your boy Victor. Doing another kitchen intro. My walk-up intro I normally do is gone, disappeared. Don't know what I did with it. I must have deleted it or threw it away. Don't know, but it's gone. With that being said, very special guest this week is gonna be Jerry. Really good friend of mine. Called up, said we've been trying to do a podcast for a while, and it just so happened that he had a lot of information to share. Coming back from Fresh Fest and some exciting information he wanted to drop. So we linked up finally and we did the podcast. It was a lot of fun. Thank you, Jerry, for coming on. Look forward to more things we're going to and talking about festivals. We're also going to go to Texas Craft Beer Festival later in September. And last year was a lot of fun, so I look forward to doing that again with Jerry and all the great conversations we had. So without further ado, hope you guys enjoyed the podcast with me and Jerry. I had a lot of fun. Jerry had a lot of fun, and I hope you guys enjoy listening. And also, before we start the podcast, I just wanted to know, Intrinsic, quietly making some of the best beers this year. You need to go check them out. This is the beer I'm about to chug. It's going to be the Powerade Berry Lime. It's a Goza. It's delicious, but they make solid beer, so hopefully I get to do a podcast with them soon. I can't wait. Also wearing my 17% drip, bigger and better. Shout out to Sean. Foresight doing big things too. I'm wearing all my friends' stuff, and also Sydney. Shout out to Sydney, DFW Brew Squad, doing some of the best bottle shares here in Texas. Without further ado, enjoy the podcast episode and watch me fail at chugging. Peace.
But Jerry, you actually know the last time you officially been on the podcast has been over 6 months.
Has it been that long?
Oh, officially, we've been together and did different videos together, but officially on the podcast since December.
I didn't realize that. Okay,
Yeah.
Cool.
And that's over 6 months ago because we did the spicy noodle challenge together.
And you've had some great conversations though since then.
And so have you.
I'm very happy to return. Here.
Thank you for coming back on, sir.
Indeed. Cheers.
So there's a few things I want to talk about. You just came back from Fresh Fest.
Yeah.
Which the pictures were great. But then you called me and said you had some news to share. What is the news?
So the news is,
if you want to talk about it right now.
Well, no, I'm totally fine with talking about it. It's actually a return to podcasting for me, and we have been talking about. I've been telling you that I've been wanting to go back into podcasting.
Yes.
I had a show long ago.
I've been yelling at you to do it for a long time now.
So, and then you had the interview with Tony Dunn with Cool Tony D.
Yeah.
And you talked about it on that show. Mm-hmm. So Tony and I were kind of talking about, okay, what we talk about. We can talk about some brews. We can talk about what's going on in music. And so we called it Modern Brews and Beats. And so that's Modern Brews and Beats. And nice. I'm sure by the time this show gets on, it'll be on iTunes as well. But right now it's already on Spotify. It's already on TuneIn Radio, and it's already on Google Play.
Nice.
So it's getting out there. But Modern Brews and Beats with Jerry Richard and Tony Dunn, and we're just talking about.
Look it up now.
Yeah. So I'm happy about it.
I gotta go to my Google Play Store. I have an iPhone. I can still have a way to get to Google Play Store.
Well, again, hopefully by the time this gets up, you will see it right there on iTunes. You can just put it right there. It'll be on iTunes. Boom.
Yeah. And we'll put the graphic in post. I don't even know what the picture looks like, but that's awesome. So you and Tony came together, did a podcast.
Yeah.
It's awesome. I can't. You know what? I think Tony has an untapped knowledge about music, and so do you. But I know you did a podcast before, and I've been wanting to do it for a long time because A, you're super knowledgeable, you're super likable, and you have a great voice and knowledge to share. So I am excited to listen to it. Now, first episode, what are we talking about?
First episode, we're actually talking about kind of giving an introduction of who we are and kind of our backgrounds, the story behind Cool Tony D and behind NTX Beer.
Yeah.
We touch into a little bit of his music background as he was talking about screw and chopped music.
Yeah.
We touch on that for a second.
He's a big fan of that.
Yeah. And so then we just talk about some new records that we're listening to and some stuff like that. So it's laid back, it's cool. Nice. Again, it's probably more 65% music and then like 35% beer.
Yeah.
But we just have some fun with it. And that's really what it's about, just a conversation and having some fun.
That's perfect. Well, let's jump into this show. This show, even though we call ourselves Dallas Beer Talk and Drunk in Public, the series, it's more about the community and showcasing the beer community. About same thing, 60 to 70% about the community 35 to 30% about the actual beer, you know? So that's awesome. So, what are some of the albums you listen to? I don't want, wait. They're already out, so I'm not spoiling anything. So your podcast is already out.
Definitely by the time this is getting out, you'll probably get on like the second or third episode.
Nice.
But definitely go back and listen to all the different episodes. And I mean,
so what is that? Some of the albums is Jerry NTX Beer listening to right now? What is?
Wow. So as far as music for right now, we'll touch on some things. There were some new records that we'll like listen to in every episode. But as far as music that I've been playing right now, I've actually been going back to the 70s. I'm a 70s kid, so that's a sweet spot for me. And I can listen to some stuff from The Emotions and some other stuff like that just because it's the Maurice White, Earth, Wind & Fire production, and I like that.
But I think Maurice Wind is way better than, controversial, way better than Earth, Wind & Fire.
Maurice White?
Yeah.
But he was, in a sense, he was kind of Earth, Wind & Fire.
No, I mean, but he went and did his own thing.
He did.
Even though there's like 1,000 people in Earth, Wind & Fire. Let's be honest. You could say any genre of music, someone from Earth, Wind & Fire played in that genre of music too.
I mean, you have these horns. I mean, Maurice was the main thing, and I think Verdell White, his brother, was the key with that. Philip Bailey was the key with that. And there was just a production style that they had with Earth, Wind & Fire and also with The Emotions that just was infectious. I mean, it just got you up, it got you on the floor, and I like that. I mean, I just may be dancing in my house, but I still love that.
The reason why I like The Emotions more, there's more lyrics to The Emotions than
It's
Earth,
true.
Wind & Fire. And lyrics and for me, it's a combination of both.
Yeah.
Beats what keeps me going back to music, lyrics what keeps me like entertained.
And The Emotions kind of took that church vibe and brought it to there. So you have a lot of lyrics that are coded in a very spiritual thing, which I know, okay, this is coming from like Black church experience, but it's done in a way with this dance feel at the time, disco feel that worked well. So, I mean, for me, it's timeless. The beats and the breaks. As I listen to hip hop now and I listen to a lot of the music productions now, they're still grabbing the beats and the breaks and the bass lines of what was happening in the 70s. It's just great to listen to.
Well, especially in the 80s, well, especially in the late 70s, 80s, and 90s, early 90s, there was all break beats because, long story short, is that for people who enjoy music, they're always going to find a way to play music. So in New York City school system cut music altogether, and they try to find a way to make it interesting and more modern to themselves.
It's true.
And that's why they took the break beats and did other things with it, you know, as far as MCing and dancing.
Yeah.
And stuff like that, where you get breakdancing from. It's interesting. Very interesting. I don't know. But like I said, I don't know why I brought that up, but it's just my own personal debate with music. Same thing where I love Tevin Campbell. I think his musical taste in the early 90s influenced, well, not just him, Bobby Brown, and New Edition, changed the way they played music for the rest of the 90s.
It's interesting because Can We Talk and some of those other things from Tevin. I almost wonder if New Jack Swing did not allow, I wonder if it allowed for men to be as sensitive. But I guess if you look at Levert, because Gerald Levert was giving you, he was giving you the same.
Well, New Edition gave you, it was a New Edition.
With Can You Stand the Rain? And
New Edition, Can You Stand the Rain, but who did that song? I think it's New Edition. Operator, where they says something's wrong with my phone.
Oh, Telephone, Mr. Telephone Land. Now that's 80s. That is New Edition.
Yes. So I think, but that's all emotion. That's like, first of all, young people won't understand what he's talking about. Of
course. Mr. Telephone Man, we're like, something on my line? A line? We don't have a line anymore.
But it's
I get a click every time.
I get a click every time myself.
But no, man, that's a separate conversation.
But I think honestly, New Edition, Bobby Brown, and Tevin Campbell influenced the way music was changing for rhythm and soul for their time, and influenced the way they progressed into the early 90s into the late 90s.
Sure.
Because there was a sharp change between 95 and 96, the way R&B was portrayed.
What would you say is that sharp change? What would you say made that sharp?
The hip hop influence of R&B, because prior to '94, it was still soulful and gentle and all that lovey-dovey, and then it switched with John B did a track with Tupac and a bunch of other hip hop artists did tracks with R&B singers.
I'm trying to remember it's like I remember it, but I don't remember the.
I don't remember the name off the top of my head, but I know John B did a track with Tupac.
Yeah.
Blackstreet did a song with I forgot the artist's name right now, but the group name right now. But there was a bunch of influence of R&B and hip hop.
Yeah,
twist
for sure.
Twist from like '94 to '96, and that just abruptly changed the style of R&B. Where Tevin Campbell was no longer relevant in R&B. His songs dropped off. And then you have and then also what also changed too was you have great artists like Maxwell came up, Music Soul Child that came up, that also changed the way the softer R&B was changing with higher vocals.
So they're kind of moving into more of the neo soul at that time.
Yes.
I mean, I know that. So we had what seemed like the UK giving us 70s soul back in their acid jazz.
Yeah.
And then
or fake punk, what they want to call it. I call it fake punk.
Fake punk. Because I think about Brand New Heavies when they came out, and then also the Repercussions and some other groups like that. But yes, Maxwell came through. Music Soul Child came through. Erykah Badu was born at that time, and even
Jill Scott.
Yeah, Jill Scott was coming through.
What was that girl that did in the late '90s that did the stupid music video in Bus?
Macy Gray.
Macy Gray. Oh my God, I can't stand her. I can't stand Macy Gray, but she has such a great voice. You cannot deny Macy Gray. She has such a great voice.
She tries to say goodbye, but she choked.
You can't deny her.
So I mean, and then of course you had coming from the hip hop world to more R&B with Lauryn Hill.
Well,
Lauryn Hill with Forest with Fugees, and then on
her solo album, her only album. I think she was more of an anomaly. She's more of like
that would be a wonderful problem to have
the greatest hip hop of all time.
The only album that is that banging, that slaps that hard still, that would be a wonderful problem. That's my only album. I kind of gave it to you.
I mean, listen, she was also known from the Fugees.
Well, sure, she was known for the Fugees, and her album got more pop radio play.
Yes,
more pop radio play than anything.
Believe it or not, Gin and Juice was everywhere on the radio.
It's
when
true,
I was a kid.
And then also people started to cover it and stuff like that. But I mean, from the jump, hers got a lot more pop play because of her playing the Fugees.
Also was on Sister Act.
Sister Act and her singing and stuff like that. So yeah, that Columbia worked that album, and I'm saying the label like I remember. I was like, going, okay, they must have really they did that. So, but then she came back. She did the acoustic one. But then acoustic one was cool because it had that song "The Mystery of Iniquity" on it, which Kanye did not sample, but he had Selena Johnson re-sing in that one song.
But isn't that a sample though?
That All Falls Down?
Yeah, when you recover it, is it not a sample?
No, it's actually just a re-singing of Lauryn Hill's song "Mystery of Iniquity."
Yeah, but can you not? So did he not have to pay for royalties for that?
Don't know. I don't know.
That's what I'd be interested in because it's similar. It's not a direct it's her singing.
Correct. It's not a sample. It's actually it's somebody else singing.
Well, it depends who wrote it. Like if she wrote it, then of course she got paid for it.
Yeah.
But if someone else wrote it, they got paid. That's what I'm confusing. Right? That's not the sample, but it's whoever's the songwriter on it got paid for Kanye doing it.
So much great music, and these conversations. And I will say, as far as the hip hop thing. Specifically, Tony Dunn would be the one because Tony Dunn, as far as what's moving on in hip hop, that has always been. We'll discuss on the show. That's kind of his lane.
This is similar to their podcast, but way more articulate and better. I just like music. I just enjoy it. It's something that I can't live without it. Honestly, I listen to music all day at work. Yeah. I've been on my hardcore hip hop tangent lately, but. Just a few weeks ago, I was listening to Maxwell, back into Maxwell and Music Soul Child, and Jill Scott. I love all that stuff. So.
It's funny.
Talib Kweli and Mos Def and all of them.
It's, of course, this part you probably won't put it in the show, but you still have a segment to share with the audience about Prince and Michael Jackson. that you yet to share. That right there would be a precious nugget. That
I was waiting for your podcast and share how I feel about it. I just don't know. I just don't know why I gravitated to Prince as a kid. Maybe to be honoring to my family because they love Michael so much. But I don't know. Ever since I remember, I was always a Prince fan. Let's go bring it back to beer. Fresh Fest. You just came back from it. How was Fresh Fest?
Fresh Fest. Fresh Fest was this. First off, I did the VIP thing, which I would definitely invite people to do. They had a symposium this year for the first time.
Yes, and that interview that you shared with me.
Oh man, that was
tremendous.
Oh yeah. So that was the interview that they did Saturday, that the Drinking Partners podcast did with Garrett Oliver, which is wonderful in and of itself. But the day before, on a Friday, they actually did a symposium, 2-part symposium on the state of the culture and craft beer. The first one really dealt with diversity and inclusion beyond Browner tap rooms, and talking about ownership and owning the narrative of who's drinking beer and how long we've been drinking beer. So it was refreshing to really hear that and kind of be in this family feel. For me, it really was something in this family feel. I haven't personally dealt with it, but there are some other people who have dealt with, are you being exclusive, you don't want white people there, and like that. I'm like going, that's ridiculous. No one's ever said that they don't want white people at the event. It was an opportunity to talk about some things that Black and Hispanic, Latino people will talk about. So we can touch on some of that, a lot of it, understandably from the people who are running it more Black. But no one was, so this, you can't enter this space or you can't do that. If anything, I would say some people talk about safe space. I say it was a brave space. It was a space to really discuss and talk about it like we were in the living room.
Yeah.
And there's a lot more discussion that needs to be had, but it was really fun. And then the shares that went on that evening were just a great time to talk and enjoy with everybody, fellowship, if you will.
Well, some of the pictures you posted was making me very jealous. Now, last year, Fresh Fest, we talked about it. You said that we're going to go this year. And I was like, yes, I'm down. And you know me, I don't write things down. And I forgot about it. But you added me to a group message that was reminding people last month, or not reminding people, just working out the travel dates for everybody. But like, okay, by the time I was added to it, I totally forgot about it, and I didn't have the finances to go and do it last minute. And plus, I got a new puppy and stuff like that, so I was like, I can't.
You had a new puppy?
Yeah.
We'll have to talk about that.
Yeah.
That's a whole separate conversation.
Yeah, Samantha's getting old, so she has kidney problems, and she's getting up there in age. So, from my experience with the older pets, you don't get a younger pet, cat or a dog, who keep them, tentative for a couple of more years, But yeah, so I really missed out. The pictures from Friday, I really missed out. Now Saturday, there's some pictures you didn't share, but you made a video of from the Saturday event, which was also equally inspiring and beautiful. Now, how did the whole festival go? How did the whole event go?
The festival was great. Saturday around noon, Drinking Partners podcast did an interview with Garrett Oliver.
Yes, thank you for sharing that. That was a great.
It's a wonderful interview. And then we were talking there in the suite, and then we went out. There were vendors out in the hallway there at Nova Place, and then also outside. Sean was there with 12% Drip. So it was really great to just kind of meet these different brewers in Pittsburgh area, as well as all over the country. And many of them were doing different collaborations. So you have entrepreneurs who were, maybe they were bakers, or maybe they were some of that, and they like someone did a lemon bar type of sour IPA, and so there's the young baker who makes her own cookies and stuff like that, but she worked with this brewery to supply cookies for their beer.
That's awesome.
You had this one person did a blend. It was called a Cracker Jack Nut Brown. You know what I'm saying? Okay. So you got Cracker Jacks in this brown ale, which is a little sweeter than it would typically go, but it was delicious. You had someone else doing a collaboration, and they, in fact, Hitchhiker did a collaboration with a local barbecue place, and they were putting cornbread in the beer.
No.
They were putting cornbread.
I
in
hope
the
it was
beer.
sweet cornbread.
So there was like 3 versions of it. You had one was regular cornbread, the other one had spices, and the other one had more maple and pecans. So that was more the sweet one.
Now, when you say regular cornbread, was it just regular cornbread with no sugar, or you had sweet cornbread?
See, I don't know, because I know cornbread from the South. I wasn't sure about Pittsburgh cornbread,
That's what I'm saying.
so I'm not certain.
Now, I've never heard of like salty cornbread and stuff like that. I always grew up with sweet cornbread. So when I had like salty cornbread,
You mean like Jiffy?
yeah,
Yeah.
and I was like, yeah, get the fuck out of here. I don't want no salty shit. But no, man, it sounds amazing. Like, listen, I believe to my heart
Yeah.
that DFW has the best beer community. I always try to say to people, I don't think we have the best beers in the world. Even though I enjoy our beers a lot.
Sure.
Really, I think we're a sleeper on a lot of different beers, and I think we're behind on other parts of beers. But I think we have the best beer community
Huh.
of inclusion. Like, there's a bunch of Latinos here who make beer.
No,
who
yeah,
make beer.
for sure, yeah.
There's a bunch of black people here who love beer, who
Sure,
make beer.
of course.
A great collaboration of brands together, who work together to promote each other. You know, from vegans to 12% drip to NCX beer to inclusion of like sponsoring beers. Like, okay, what kind of beer you want? With like Indian people, like not Indian people, but Taps and Caps, which is owned by Indian people, who made Atomic Alliance, which is a peanut collaboration beer for them and for Taps and Caps.
You know, I kind of forgot that was collaboration.
That's a collaboration beer.
I completely forgot, actually, because I don't, I'm so busy seeing Atomic Alliance, I don't remember that. I didn't remember, I'll say that was a collaboration originally. Okay.
Between both of them. And it's a delicious beer. Pina colada beer. It's probably, in my opinion, the best pina colada IPA beer out there. Fight me. But it's. I think we have the best community. The only way for me to find out is to go to those festivals like that. And I keep saying this, I'm gonna drop my Patreon, and I just need my friends to review it. Like I said, I'm not confident with it. I'm not confident with it. My
Gotta
friend,
make it happen.
AKA Jerry, I need Jerry to overlook it.
You gotta
Look over it.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm not confident with it because I always feel weird asking people for money. And but I do want to. The thing about it is, I do want to go to those festivals because I do think we have the best community. And again, the only way for me to truly find out is to meet these people in their community and hang out and learn.
Sure.
But unfortunately, I'm not rich. I can't do it myself. One day I'll be. Yeah, if I hit the lottery, but.
Yeah.
I want to go to Pittsburgh. I want to go to Florida. I think Tampa has a really good, healthy beer community that's Latin influenced that I want to check out.
Sure.
Of course, California has a healthy beer community. Vegas with the Beer Zombies has a great, healthy beer community. Of course, New York and Boston and everybody else in between has Chicago. I keep going by cities. I keep going down the list. There's so many beer communities out there. Santa Fe. Albuquerque, New Mexico, I think has a healthy beer community. It's different. They're very different from us, but I think it's healthy. They have a very healthy beer community.
You can have some great stuff going on. They have good beer and then good people that are supporting the scene.
Yeah.
So yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so I want to see all these things. And everybody I haven't visited. Arizona, Mississippi, Louisiana. So I don't know. I'm really excited. I'm glad you went.
Yeah.
I'm really glad you went. And I'm mad that I didn't go.
Next year. We got to make Fresh Fest 2020.
In the video, people remind me that I need to go next year.
I'll remind you.
I need to go. I'll have enough PTO to make it.
Yeah.
I need to go. That's it's something I was really jealous of because Coffee went, Angie went, Sean went.
Stuart went.
Like there's a bunch of people we know went.
Yeah. Coomer was up there.
Really?
He did a sour, what's called work optional.
Okay.
Sour with Grist House. Amazing.
Wow.
Amazing. But it was because it was so fruited, they didn't want to bottle it or something like that because I would have taken it home, but they were afraid it was going to burst. So.
Yeah. No, I'm sad I missed it.
Yeah.
But we're going to Austin for Texas Craft Beer Fest.
Yes.
That's coming up. That's exciting.
I'm looking forward to that.
I was really excited about last year. You know what besides the beers for being great, you know what, that trip made it special because you were there. And we got to experience a lot of the same beers together at the same time. And the conversations we had about the beers at the time, I thought was very interesting and very, very exciting. And the people were great. The people were great. For the most part, the people, I mean, all the brewers were great. You know, I know Petticoats had some problems later in the festival, but it has nothing to do with the organizers. It has nothing to do with the people who attended the festival. You know, and it was, I thought I had fond memories.
I'm looking forward to it. We should do an Airbnb.
Yeah.
Drew come down?
Drew is unfortunately
Because he's got babies.
He has 3 babies.
Yeah.
They're moving to a house. I'm gonna help them. If he need help, I'm help him move. But no, he won't make it out this year. Next year, Drew's always gonna be welcome back.
Of course.
Whenever for the podcast.
Always.
Drew's not out of it. He's still in the loop on the podcast.
Sure.
He still has access to all my social media stuff and emails, and he's still attached on the business card.
It's just that he's kind of raising his own company right now.
he's working 2 jobs. He's working 3 jobs. He's working 2 jobs outside of the house, and his 3rd job is being in the house and taking care of
taking care of those babies.
Yeah, with his lovely wife, and they just bought out. They're finishing on buying a house right now.
Cool.
That's exciting for them, you know. So being adults and shit. He's working on his 3rd kid. I got my 2nd dog, and I was like, I got my 2nd dog, and I don't know what to say to his 3rd kid.
Well, you make sure when you talk with him next, tell him I said hello.
Of course.
You know, I definitely wish him the best, and so happy that he's doing well, mom's doing well, and the baby's doing well.
No, of course. No, it's awesome.
So, I may be out of order in terms of like what you were going to mention.
Oh, go ahead.
Next, but
there's no rush.
So, naming beers and beer situations.
Yeah.
So
Currently, I'm a racist and a white supremacist.
No. I don't know where that came from. Well, I know where it came from. You told me where it came from in terms of people saying it, but
people said that messaged me. I did troll a little. Now, for people who don't know who's watching, there's been a controversy with Manhattan Project about a name of their beer. Now, I'm not going to spend my time explaining the beer or stuff like that, but it was a very sensitive topic for a group of people,
sure,
which is understandable for given the history of the people.
Sure.
I love Misty. I love Carl.
Yes.
I see nothing wrong with the name of their beer,
yes,
in my opinion. But I see very poor management of the situation. Now, what I mean by poor management for people listening or watching right now is that people have the right to feel the way they feel, and you should never silence them by blocking them. People have the right to feel the way they do, and it's tough because it's easy for me to say it, but I'm not Manhattan Projects. I'm not them, and nor will I receive it as much information or hate or discourse that they were receiving. So I don't understand their situation completely. So it's easy for me to say to accept it and receive it, but it's a very interesting situation where I feel like there's certain people you shouldn't silence, especially people who are from the culture that they felt offended from. Now, that's one thing. The second thing is apology, which I'm pretty sure was heartfelt on their end, but I felt like it was incomplete. It was a very incomplete statement, a very incomplete picture, so it allows a lot for speculation and led down this rabbit hole. Now, my contribute to this situation was show love to Manhattan Project. Now, Manhattan Project is my favorite brewery. It's continue to be my favorite brewery.
Sure.
Drinking Manhattan Project right at this moment.
Yeah.
But it led them to be open for criticism, which with my support of them, led myself to be open for criticism, which I accepted fully, and I kind of trolled a little bit, and I take my responsibility for it. But yeah, it's a very interesting situation.
It is. It is. I wish them nothing but the best. Mm-hmm. I mean, I want them to open without a hitch.
Yes.
And the place to be, packed because their beverages are great.
Yeah.
In the area.
I'm certain locally we're gonna pack it out. I'm still gonna be there opening day. We will still. I'm pretty sure a lot of us will still be there opening day. Without a shout out about depending what happens. Like this is very little things, very openly being something disrespectful will stop me from going to their opening. But I know them personally, which I don't see that happening. So of course locally we will still be there, but I still want them to grow outside of local. You know, I still want them to grow outside.
I mean,
of
that's their own. I mean, if you look at their Instagram, they say they want to be the best beer brand in the world.
Yeah.
So even their intention is to be bigger than Dallas,
Exactly.
bigger than Texas.
Exactly.
You know. However, when you want to be bigger than Dallas, bigger than Texas,
Yep.
sometimes there may be things that you have to alter. And we'll see what happens. Again, the beverages themselves are great.
Yeah, of course.
So they'll be great regardless of what they are called.
Yes.
And I think that's all I mean as far as like them opening without a hitch. They've worked so hard to put their name in the market and get this understanding by people in the market.
Well, we know Misty for the last 3 years.
Yeah.
You've known them for 3 years.
Yeah.
I've known them for 2.
For sure. And so I want to see them win
Yeah.
the long game. And the long game would be, okay, we have that, whether it be a more of a fuller story on their blog, where they explain even more of, kind of touch more into what they were saying in the apology, kind of putting more of that story on the blog, and that way saying, okay, here's where we're deeply coming from.
Yeah.
Because I have a feeling they are going to, well, I assume they're going to, but I can't speak for the
Well, regardless of the situation, the current situation, with a divisive historical context as Manhattan Project,
Sure.
as the name, the actual project of the Korean atomic bomb and the devastation and the different Cold War that it birthed it, and the race for arms that it birthed it, and the people testing that birthed from it. Like, there's a lot of things that birth negative effects that affect a lot of indigenous people everywhere. And it's regardless of your intent, there is backlash. If you just go down the name and history of important historical events with the name like Manhattan Project and going names down that list. Now, I have an opinion how they should handle it.
Okay.
Do you have an opinion how they should have handled it, the situation?
It really will be just more sharing more of that story on their blog.
Yes.
Like, what I really appreciated, again, it's a wonderful opportunity for a meaningful exchange
Yes.
about this situation. Because I'm like with everyone else. I saw Manhattan Project, thought about it, but didn't think too deeply into it. I saw the whole nuclear thing, even in their logo
The
and
atom
all,
of the beer.
the
in
atom.
middle.
So I mean, what I saw, even from their Instagram, from the blog, was a nice concept, a nice design concept, really well done beer. The nuclear part was sort of like unspoken. It was touched on, but sort of unspoken when it came to some of the blogs, when it came to some of the stories.
Some of their blogs and some of
Their
what they
blogs.
put out. Now, what I would say, when me and Jerry had a conversation quickly before the podcast was, if you go deep into the podcast they appeared on,
Yeah.
now if you talk to Carl, talk to Misty, and watch the podcast they've been on, they explain why they picked the name, and they explain the historical context of it and why, because one of the owners is an engineer. Really appreciate the engineering of it and then the historical context, but it's not belittlement of the effects of the historical content.
And
now, without any individual going a deep dive looking
Right.
for Manhattan Project, you'll never find that out because it's not on their personal information.
And that's the thing. I mean, I'd love for them to add that same story that they did on your podcast, that same deep dive, touching on it a little bit on the website. It then shares the motive of education.
Yeah.
Because then we can kind of go deeper into what was going on. Plus, I think there are just interesting stories. I can only imagine the stuff that, as an engineer, what you studied on and what I was like. Okay, I'd love to let's go there. Let's talk about
As an engineer, when you listen to the historical context of plutonium 239, that's a very important historical discovery.
Yeah.
Not just because the effects that came from it, but is that the atom that they split was plutonium 239. That split the atom and then they led to other names for their beers, like 10 nanoseconds.
Sure.
Necessary Evil is a very, very famous quote from a president. Like, these all have historical context with the name of their beers. I agree with you. There should be more information out there. I wish moving forward, or they have done it before, but especially moving forward, I feel like they need to make a video. Not apologetic, like a super, like, I don't want them to do like cliche apologetic video. You know, they apologize, but they should definitely express it verbally and visually, apology, but also explain before you apologize the intent and the historical context that you were touching on. Now, Manhattan Project, people outside of knowing the name didn't know what that was. People know who the United States invited to that Hopkins thing. They know that name. There's a lot of historical context that I kind of knew because I'm a big historical buff, but you forget about because there's a lot of information in history.
Sure.
A lot of information you forget. You know, 10 nanoseconds, why is that important? You know, what is black matter? Why is that important?
Sure.
When was that discovered? You know, these are all things that the names of their beers, but they all play historical content.
Yeah.
So that would love from them the same way you do it in the blog. I just wish it was in the video because it's quick and formed in the video.
Right.
And then it can still make a blogs afterwards. But I don't know. I love Misty, love Carl, and Jeremy, who is the brewer.
Jeremy Tyler. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
The whole team.
The whole team.
Awesome.
The whole team. And I wish for everything to be fantastic for them as going forward. I trust everything will be. I just consider this as like, because there are probably many things we can talk about in terms of armament and things like that.
Yeah.
I do have to ask, would it be so hard if the beer name changed? Would it be so...
It wouldn't be hard. It wouldn't be hard. No, it wouldn't be hard to change it. You could change the name of beer, like I think you said it earlier. I think you changed the name of beer.
It could be what goes around comes around. I mean, and it would be still as delicious.
Yeah, whatever they choose to name it. But I don't think they, in my opinion, I don't think they didn't need to have to change it unless if they explained it. I think they did a very incomplete explanation of it, which caused the frenzy. You know, there was explanation, but it was incomplete.
And the explanation was given at a time when there was enough pushback, hostility to get that, because had that same blurb had been put out from the beginning, and had been put out again on the blog and on the blog.
So for people who don't know, if you go check out Manhattan Project, they have about their beers, about the brewery, beers listing, and then they have a blog. Now within, if you go to any of those things, you will find out about their beers. But if you go to their blog, what we're talking about or what we're referring to, you'll find one of their recent blogs referring to a beer in historical context about a beer. But within that blog, which you have to look for, which is the problem, you just can't go on the website and find it out. Because when you go, as anybody who goes to a beer website, they'll go to the beer listing and find out the description about the beer instead of going to the blog portion of it.
And when you go to the blog, other than a link that is provided
and a quick information,
you are really talking about how they had it on the market at first, but the place they first were working at, they didn't really support making gozas or sours, but now they're in a new place and they feel the place is going to work really well. And so here's this beer that was out a couple of years ago, but now it's back. This nice fresh summer goes. So again,
I think that's the beer description, but I think if you go to the beer blog,
no, that's from the beer blog.
But it starts off saying what is the location, what it came from, what is the start of it.
It's a piece that's hyphenated. It's like within parentheses it says not the testing site, and it says parentheses for a history lesson. Click here.
Yeah,
and that's it. That part there. But the rest of the conversation in the blog, really is dealing only with we found we're at a new place now. They kind of support. It's all about the production of the drink.
You're right. I was mistaken. Sorry.
So it's just one of those things where, and again, it's not saying there's no room to talk about the discussion of the drink, but if the education part is something that we're working
even
on.
if the story of the brewery, like, is not a full story of why he picked Manhattan Project, you just say engineer, And when I say he, I meant Carl and Misty, the family.
I would love to know that. I would love. It's
But
just,
in their stories, even if you say about us, it's
Yeah.
a quick overview of who they are and their background versus a quick deep dive of why they picked this and the historical context for them and the inspiration of these things. You know, outside of doing the deep dives and podcasts from the hip,
Sure.
No Beer Left Behind,
Yeah.
and this podcast here.
Yeah.
Outside of those, actually looking for those podcasts. I think they did 2 more podcasts too where they
Sure.
explained
It
themselves.
was like this one. In fact, it was your show. It was No Beer Left Behind. It was North Texas Beer Pod.
That's what I was thinking
yeah.
about.
And so
From the Hip.
it was like literally they had 3. No, now From the Hip is a different one. This is actually North Texas Beer Pod, like a separate one.
No, I'm talking about. They also talked about their journey from the hip.
So that's 4.
Yeah.
There's 4 shows. Okay.
But without actually doing a deep dive and looking for it,
Got
you
it.
would never find out. It's
Sure.
not on their own website or even on their own Instagram or Twitter.
Right.
What I would suggest again is updating all that information.
Sure.
I think you made a wonderful suggestion earlier about reaching out to the community and actually doing a sit down and having a conversation. Because there's no malice behind the name. And a name is a location. The name is a location of a place.
Sure.
There's no ill intent behind it.
There's no ill intent behind it, but if the overarching theme of the brewery is talking about nuclear testing, nuclear particles, nuclear science,
Yeah.
then that takes the place and brings it to the connection of the nuclear happenings that went on there. So it then removes it from just being an island to being like, now we're tied to what actually happened there, because it wouldn't make any sense if it were just naming an island and there was nothing
Yeah.
nuclear that happened down there.
I mean, I would say you take that to anything then at that point. I mean, my reason why it's hard to have discourse online, because it's again, there's no real discourse. There's text message, which is you can't find people's intent within words, and people are limited to language. Like, if you're not, for me, I'm not a great writer. Like, if we compare us trying the same beer and our description of the same beer, you write it and I write it, and we've done this before, and I always laugh that you're way better at writing than I am, because your way to communicate is visualize what you're feeling, which I'm unable to do in words. You know, I could articulate what I feel and what I'm thinking, but in literature and actually texting things out, or writing things out, I should say, is different for me. You know, but it's for a lot of people too.
Sure.
You know, it's hard to visualize what you really mean.
Yeah.
So it's hard to have a really good discourse online.
Well, I think we're having that discourse. I think we have that discourse because we care. We care about their beverages. We care about the brewery. And the whole thing is, I think, overall,
equal is there to our hearts. The situation is to the people who are upset.
of course. And
Of course.
not everybody who is upset is trolling. Some people are just simply they're simply expressing frustration.
No, I get it. But this is why I can't have discourse with the people who are upset online about the name.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing malice about the name of a place. Now, it's hard for me to. It's hard to have an equivalent of naming a place.
Yeah.
You know. But the only thing I could, off the top of my head, the only thing I could think of, Manhattan. Manhattan it could be divisive.
Sure.
You know, because there was a terrorist attack in Lower Manhattan, which they made fun. People tried to make fun of. Which there's a picture that we both talk about that it was a good meme picture, even though the situation was not funny, but it was quickly made within minutes of. I don't know. These people are good online. These people are good at making memes. It was minutes.
There were.
It was minutes of the situation blowing up, and it was a very interesting meme.
Yeah, it was. It was.
But it's places have historical content to it. I get the nuclear theme, I get the name Manhattan Project, but there's no malice behind it. You know, I just felt like the situation was handled poorly. Adding fuel to the fire is that us locally, not us locally, a majority of people us locally didn't handle the situation correctly either, because, again, people take offense to what they know or what's personal to them. Now we know Misty and Carl, we know the family, we know their kids. We're very personal to them.
Yeah.
So when they get attacked for things we know they not are, racist, insensitive, you know, colonizers, they were called multiple times.
Well, again,
we know that's not who they are, so people take offense to it. So it leads more people to find.
Well, and it also, again, when those people, when there is no further comment, and the people in the beer community are left to their own devices to say certain things,
Yeah.
unfortunately, those words begin to become true, even if they were not originally for the brewery. Some comments, again,
Yeah.
I saw some things that were said that were just, again, an amazing lack of empathy. And they were just like completely saying things that were like, okay, I don't know if ego's getting in the way and you just feel like I'm just gonna say whatever I want and you
Yeah.
can't stop me. And it's like, okay, stop.
I don't want to
stop,
say
we're not-
ego. It becomes a thing about us versus them. It becomes a thing of like, I know them. I know they're good people. So whatever you feel and how you saying it to them, I'm going to reflect that back to you.
Right, but see, you could take that same language for people who would make a beer that would have an American slavery reference. And someone would then turn around and say, well, my friends are good people. You
Well-
can't just, no, you turn around and say, they're good people. They're
But-
they're not that way. And I'm like,
Let's talk about let's talk about it. Like, let's talk about this a theme of a brewery. Legal Draft has a really good theme.
yes,
Okay, habeas corpus is a very tricky situation in
Sure.
life.
Sure.
That's the name of their beer, but they don't mean NASDAQ. It's just a law. Other law themes are tricky that they name their beers on. But
Gend up charges, all kinds of that. Yeah,
which is trumped up charges, which is a very thing that's anti-black and anti-Latino. Mostly anti-black after slavery, which led to a lot of different things. Now, I don't think Legal Draft is racist. They're just they taking law names, making it funny, and naming their beers. Now, you could take their intent and try to dig down deep
Yeah.
and call that racist. I disagree. But what I get what you're saying is this: the lack of communication from the brewery allows for more speculation from outside forces. Hindsight is 2020.
Sure.
Hindsight is always 2020.
Right.
If we could go back 8 months and put all this information on the brewery
Yeah.
and make it clear. No, it's a very interesting situation. At the end of the day, love them, but there's a lack of empathy on all sides. So we'll see what happens in the long run. We'll see what happens in the next few weeks.
we'll see.
Yeah,
We'll see. I mean, who knows? But by the time this podcast comes out, it'll be
it'll be
something
under
completely
the water.
different.
Yeah, it'll
but-
be under the water. On a positive note, I have fallen in love with Truly. Have you tried this?
I have not tried it.
I try it. It's a little warm, but try it.
So it's truly warm, huh?
It's truly warm. Pun intended.
Oh, mercy. Hard seltzer, huh?
Don't tell me it's not good. Don't tell
I mean,
me
it's like soda.
It's
it's like
dangerous.
A nice, it's like
and
a,
it's 5%.
yeah, it's like soda.
No sugar. I mean, one gram of sugar. God, this is good. What do you think about this whole hard cider trend?
Oh, the hard seltzer trend. It's. I mean,
Cider, seltzer, same
it's
shit.
not the same thing. I think seltzer is what's interesting. It started coming out around 2016. It's something that people are doing to make that money. You know, if just like yourself, if you're drinking it, why not?
Yeah.
Why not make that money? I'm not mad.
Outselling beer, craft beer especially.
Well, because and
By a
like
mile.
you said, it had less sugar and all kinds of because you can drink that. Now it's still 5%.
5%,
So
yeah.
you know, don't go too crazy because you still can kind of get your
You get twisted on this, but it's still more than Bud Light, still more than like Dos Equis.
Sure.
Way less calories. What is the calories? 140 calories, but only 1 gram or 2 grams of on carbohydrates and 1 gram of sugar. So you're watching your diet and you still want to drink. I think it's right up the alley, but it's also delicious.
yeah.
The funny thing about this, now if I knew this was popular when I started the podcast, I would have been drinking hard seltzer versus beer because I'm a mixed drink kind of guy.
Yeah.
But that's all the sugars in the world.
Sure.
Imagine this as a slushie with a little shot of vodka in it. jumping that percentage up.
True that. True that.
Woo! Come on, this is dangerous. I heard the pineapple is delicious. I gotta find the pineapple. I haven't found the pineapple yet.
Yeah, he's a Truly fan. That's why
I'm just saying, if they had peaches. What? Now,
you and peaches.
I
Hilarious.
love peaches. Now, I bought a mixed
A mixed pack of that?
a mixed pack of this, thank you. But it did not come with anything besides, like, it came up with berry, raspberry, mixed berry, and I forgot the other thing, lemon, I think it was.
Yeah.
And I was hoping pineapple or peaches or something. Nothing.
Sure.
But it's still good though. I posted a picture on it. I had a beer and this, and I was like, honestly, I didn't finish my beer. I drank the Truly, and actually, they could have kicked me out because it was after midnight when I popped the second can, and I was like, I'm buying another one, and I popped it. She's like, no, what are you doing?
Because after midnight,
Yeah, I was like, oh, I am sorry. Do you want me to dump it? She's like, no, you can drink it. I was like, thank you. This is good.
That's great.
This is good. This doesn't even taste like it has alcohol in it. I could drink a 12 pack of this.
I mean, it's good. I just to take a little sip. It's nice. It's very
Gluten
nice.
free.
Now, I will probably have to wrap some things up because I have to take a very early bus to Austin in the morning.
Yeah, I gotta go to work at 4 in the morning too.
4 in the morning. Oh, yeah. So you and I will be getting up around the same time.
Yeah, it'll be very drowsy. So, but do you think this is gonna be something to stay around, or is it gonna be like the other hard ciders back in the '90s and fade?
I mean, we'll see. We'll see. I mean, it's been around since. I mean, it came back 2016 is when it like really started coming out, and so now this summer everybody's getting into it. We'll see how long it stays.
Isn't it like the '90s? It was called something else.
Like a malt beverage or something
No,
like that.
not the malt. It was a cider, 5% too when I was a kid, but more sugary. Starting with a Z.
Like Zima?
Zima.
No, Zima. I think Zima wasn't a seltzer though. Zima was, I think, was a malt beverage.
It was malt.
It was a malt. It was a malt beverage. Whereas these are totally different. Yeah.
See, I thought that was the same thing. I thought they were the same thing from the '90s because, like, Smirnoff, I know was malt beverage.
Smirnoff and Zima were kind of the same.
Zima was the same as
Yeah.
Smirnoff. Got it. Because I know Smirnoff was a malt beverage. I can still drink. You can still buy it right now. It says malt on it.
Sure.
Yeah. They sell it in 40 glasses now. I did not know that. I found that out yesterday when I bought the 12 pack of this.
See?
I saw the Smirnoff and I was like, they sell it in 40s now. All that sugar.
And people drink it too.
People buy that.
Man.
Man, that's diabetes.
Of course.
How many grams of sugar you think is in that 40 can or 40 glass?
A 40 ounce of
Smirnoff.
I don't know. I have to look that up.
I'm gonna look it up too. We're gonna post it right here in this video. That's a lot of grams of sugar, man. Like, that's all sugar.
Put it right here in the video, like on the gram.
Diabetes. I think I hope this stays around. I really like it. Listen, honestly, I really like it. I want to try the pineapple. Come out with peaches. If you don't have it already, come out with peaches. On that note, it's a very interesting way to end the podcast. Jerry, first and foremost, thank you for coming on the podcast. What's the name of your podcast that is dropping?
So it's Modern Brews and Beats.
Brews and Beats.
Yeah, if you see Modern Brews, just look up Modern Brews plus Beats or Modern Brews and Beats, and you'll see us on there.
You have Instagram, Facebook.
It'll be on my on NTX Beer, NTX_beer, or on Cool Tony D. But there's not a separate Instagram for it yet, just because.
That's okay. It's okay. Are you gonna drop it on YouTube?
It's possible. I may make it available so that way if people want to listen to it from YouTube, even though it's just an audio thing. Yeah. Sure.
I mean, I have a few podcasts where I've lost the visual part of it and I had to do it like that.
I had to figure something. What I would love to have if I were going to put on YouTube is some sort of visual to go along with it. That way, for people who are just like listening to it, it would be something on the screen besides just the logo. You know.
I'll look into it and see what I can do for you. Because I know you guys are recording 2 different locations.
Yeah.
I'll look into it.
Cool.
I see what I can find.
Cool.
Because you're both on Android.
Yeah, we're both on Android.
You need a newer phone though. Because your crazy camera doesn't have enough high def resolution. Because it'll be very weird looking. So unless you guys flip it both back cameras.
Oh, as far as making a podcast where we both be visually on the thing, no, I haven't done that. And we haven't, I mean, I have an ability to do that if I were using my computer at home, but we usually record very late at night. And I'm like not trying to be picture perfect on the camera. I'm like, no, I'm gonna be sitting there.
We just need to do shoulders up.
Even then, I'll probably be sitting there in an A shirt, and I'm like going, okay, well. So yeah, I don't know.
No. Anyway, I'm super excited. I'm super excited about the podcast. I'm gonna go home and listen to it. This is what I'm gonna listen to tomorrow at work. Super excited. First of all, thank you, Jerry, and thank you for always being around and being a friend.
Yeah, man. I mean, that's what it's all about. Victor, thank you. Thank you for continuing the show. Thank you for doing everything you do with Dallas Beer Talk, and for being such a great supporter. Thank you.
I don't know about that, but thank you. But your video's dropping, your vlogging episode's dropping, and by the time this video comes out, 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I am really bad. I am really behind on my editing, guys. I stop being lazy. Gotta do my job. Edit these videos. Jerry, thank you so much. Drink more Truly, sir. It's delicious. Peace. Don't drink and drive. Take a lift.